What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Zach and Pat Show. I'm Zach.
I'm Pat.
This is the show about manhood, fatherhood, entrepreneurship, and the mentality it takes to be successful with those things. And we'll probably sprinkle in some helpful real estate advice too, because that's what Pat should do. You know, guys, life can be tough. We can go through some things and struggle at times, but this is the show to let you know that you're not alone. So if you're someone out there going through any of these things, this is the show for you. What's up, guys? Shout out to our friends at NeuroGum for keeping us energized and focused. NeuroGum is a chewing gum with caffeine, L-theanine, B vitamins 6 and 12. Helps with energy, focus, and you know, so it's got a little bit of caffeine, about like half a cup of coffee. And you know, I chew it all the time. I chew it while I'm driving around, showing houses, working. Whenever I'm doing a CrossFit workout, sometimes I'll chew it while I'm doing jiu-jitsu, while we're doing podcast. Yeah, it's great. So and it doesn't ever make you feel jittery or there's never like a crash. So, and I've even lately where with the new baby, I've been working out at night. A lot of times lately, like I've been going like after we get the kids to bed around 8 o'clock and I'll throw a piece or two of that in and it doesn't keep me up all night. So, that's another kind of use I've been using it for lately. So get out there and try some NeuroGum.
Especially if you're in an airport and you don't want to spend an exorbitant amount on the overpriced shit that they have to charge you. NeuroGum is an amazing alternative. I know from experience.
Damn right.
I had a lot of flights this last week. I needed NeuroGum.
Murph, I want to get into Murph, we've taken a little bit of a hiatus. So, the last episodes that you guys have seen, we had those kind of banked before we had a baby. So my wife, we had a baby, what was it? He'll be 2 weeks old tomorrow. So, we took a little bit of a hiatus there. We had a bunch of episodes kind of pre-recorded and stacked up, and then that's kind of what we've been releasing. So this is the first time we're getting together in the last couple of weeks. So
yeah, life changes part 2.
Yeah. We got lots of stuff to talk about. So yeah, we had a baby. So,
congratulations.
We're super, super happy, super excited. Everything's, happy, healthy. Everything's good. The C-section went, man, I can't say enough good things about a scheduled C-section because that was the simplest. I mean, it was so much different than our first experience at the hospital. We had it all scheduled. I mean, they were like, all right, get to the, get there, the surgery's at 7:30. You need to get there 2 hours before because it's like an airport, I guess. You got to get there. You got to get through security. There. Yeah, they got to run you through the TSA and metal detectors. It was nice. So we got there at like 5:30. Our doctor ended up getting a flat tire, so she was a little bit late. The surgery Gina was getting wheeled into the operating room at 7:50 in the morning, and Theo was born on at 8:10. So I mean that included the time that she was getting like numbed up and everything like that. So I mean it's super fast, in and out, and and we were out of the hospital in like 2.5 days. Yeah. It was awesome. Perfect. Can't complain at all. She's been recovering well. Theo's great. Calvin's adjusting to being a big brother, and it's been great.
I was going to ask, how's Calvin doing? Is he getting jealous?
He's a little jealous here and there. He's weird about certain things. Like he doesn't like when I hold Theo for some reason. No, mommy hold Theo. No, mommy hold. And we're like, okay, all right, here, you take him. Just it's weird. So he's always weird about stuff like that. Like he's weird if like I pick up Gina's phone and I'm like he's like no, that's mommy's phone. Or if Gina picks up my phone, he'll grab, no, that's daddy's. So I think he's weird about like, no, you're supposed to have that thing, not you. And it's like, so he's kind of doing that with Theo, which is weird, but he's been really sweet with him. He's always wanting to hold him, which is like, okay. And we're like, all right, and yeah.
Dexterity of a 3-year-old.
Yeah. We've got a rule, no toys around Theo. Cause he's always wanting to like play trucks and drive trucks on his head and stuff like that. And so we got to like, manage that. But I mean, he's been sleeping well. I mean, it's been great. I can't say enough good things. And
that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I stopped by yesterday to drop some stuff off, and the other cool aspect of it is Coop.
Oh yeah.
So if for you guys that don't know, Coop is their German Shepherd. Just the way he reacts and just that natural instinct dogs have. Dogs are fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Just that natural instinct that he had, like as soon as I came in, like he was blocking me from getting anywhere in this house. And it's like, and as soon as like I went to go upstairs, he was at the top of the stairs blocking me from coming up. And then like Gina walked out of the room with Theo and she was feeding him. And I was like, I'm walking down the hall to get to the thing and he just wouldn't let me go. Yeah. Until Gina was like, yeah, hey, Coop, it's fine. It's fine. And he kind of came and just sat next to her. Like, I mean, I had the same experience with Duke, but, and then also the same experience with Connor, with Oliver when Oliver was born. I mean, it's a new, basically the way I thought was like, Connor looked at it as like, oh, it's a new toy for me to play with.
Right.
You know? And so like Connor, let's be gentle here.
Yeah. Well, Calvin totally expected, like, you know, cause he knew that mommy had a baby in her belly and like there was a baby in there and the baby was going to come out. And like, I think he totally expected Theo to like come out as a toddler, being
like
able
him.
to play with him,
Mhm.
you know,
Right.
like being able to, does Theo walk? Does Theo talk? You know, and it's like, no, he doesn't really do much right now, buddy. He cries, shits, and eats, and that's about it.
You ever seen the Rugrats movie?
Yeah.
They had the orange cassette tape.
Yeah.
It's like whenever like Dill was born and like you have the Tommy, Chucky, Phil, Lil, and all them, like they were all like they were like a year old each. But then Dill was born. All he does is cry, shit, and eat. And like, dude, there was a huge dichotomy between like the kids that had been a year old and then that newborn baby. And that's all I could think about if I was him.
Yeah. And it's so weird. Like, it's just, you forget how fragile and small they are when they come out. God, they're so little. Like, I mean, you can just hold them with one hand.
And he was a bigger baby.
Yeah, he's a big baby too.
Yeah.
8 pounds, 4 ounces.
Yeah.
Like, that's a pretty big baby.
I mean, because I'm thinking back because Connor was, both of them were about the same length as Theo, but Connor was like 6'6" and Oliver was like 6'8" maybe. And so like much smaller.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it was seeing Theo, I'm like, oh my gosh, I forget like
so small.
how small they are now to where my boys are at now. I'm just like, damn, man, they grow up so fast. Connor is a giant. Oliver is tall, or not as tall, but he is thick.
Mm-hmm.
He's a thick boy. And I mean, he's built a lot like I am. Connor is a lot like Melissa.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like seeing, I'm like, holy shit. Like they're like the amount of growth that goes on from the time they're born until like, I mean, even like where they're at now, 4 and 5 years old is incredible. And just the way they learn and what they learn and how fast they pick up on things, it's nuts. Yeah. So I'm excited for you guys.
Oh yeah, man. I'm excited for like when Theo gets to be like Calvin's age now and like they're able to like interact a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just gonna be super interesting to see, just because Calvin's so like talkative and vocal. Like we're like, is Theo ever gonna be able to get like a word in?
Right.
Because he just doesn't shut up.
Right. Well, but that like, so the one thing like I don't know if you've noticed this yet or what, but as he gets older and starts doing things, like you'll start like thinking back, like, okay, how old was Connor when he started doing this? So like,
well, how old is he when he started walking?
Right.
When did he start talking?
So
stuff like that.
They're opposites in the sense where Connor started talking at like 10 months, but he didn't start like he took his first steps the night before Oliver was born.
Huh.
So like 15 months is when he started. I mean, he was moving and crawling, but like actually walking. I remember him walking, like taking his steps in the hospital. We're like, holy shit.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then Oliver started walking at 10 months, but didn't start talking until he was older. So they were like flip-flopped in that sense. So like, which, I mean, I don't know, because when I look at him now, I feel like Oliver is more athletically coordinated, like in terms of control of his body. But in terms of speaking, I don't think he's quite as far along. Like Connor, I can have full-blown conversations with Connor, and he's 5.
And he gets it. Yeah.
And he understands it. Oliver is a little different in that sense. But I feel like Connor has to work harder to be athletic than Oliver does.
So interesting.
Yeah. So like watching them on scooters, like they love to ride these three-wheeled scooters. And that video you posted the other day where he was just like cruising.
Yeah.
Like, that was
that's literally, that has been my life for like the last 10 days.
Oh yeah.
All he wants to do is be outside and ride a scooter.
Oh, yeah.
He wants to go, you know, we live at the bottom of this big hill. He wants to like go all the way to the top, and like we're like, no, like I let him go 2 houses up and you can go down. Like we go to the second mailbox and we go down.
Yeah.
And I was like, not going any higher because we went higher once because he was following around some of the bigger kids, and I'm like running after him. He got like the speed wobbles, like when you start like going really fast on something, you're and I'm like I had to like catch him from falling. It was but he thinks, I mean, he that's crazy. He picked up the scooter like the first day.
Yeah.
And now we just got him one of those balance bikes, and he like doesn't like it because he can't figure it out.
Yeah.
Yet, but
sounds like
neither
me.
of my boys like the balance bikes. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I mean, when you see him, Oliver just like whips around, just maneuvering in and out, making turns, going really fast and slamming on the brakes and like spinning his back. Yeah, it's so like, it's funny to watch. I'm like, damn, this kid's going to be like some sort of BMX ultimate extreme sport athlete. And then Connor like loves baseball. All he wants to do is play baseball, play catch, hit off the teeth, and wants to be thrown to him. And Oliver will do it. And Oliver will just step up and just naturally, just like without even trying to hit the ball, where Connor's like practicing to get better and better and better. So it's like almost like Oliver's the more natural athlete. Connor's the one that works harder. But yeah, it's you start seeing those like as they get older, and you can start comparing them. And like, hey, when was the best thing was for us was videos and social media, because we could go back and be like pinpoint when
he was doing. Gina's been doing that a lot. She's been like taking going, all right, what did Calvin look like at 10 days old? How big was he? Did he and like she keeps doing like so early now. There's not much that he can other than like just looking at their appearance.
Absolutely.
There's not much that you're getting really from it yet. But down the road, I mean, that kid's got pictures and videos of every single day of his life. So it's just
right.
Yeah. It's
well,
awesome.
but going back to what you were saying earlier about how awesome it was that you had the scheduled C-section.
Oh God, it was so nice.
So for like both boys, we did a scheduled inducement. So
that's what we did the first time.
Yeah.
But it was like a fucking ordeal.
Right. Well, because it ended up being a C-section.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, we did a scheduled inducement, but it was nice. Like we just took our time. We got there. We weren't rushed. Freaking out.
I never had the whole water break. Let's get there.
Yeah. Like, oh shit. Like we have to get there now. Like we took our time. We got there, and obviously the first one's a learning experience, but they're like, yeah, you can get here at midnight. So we got there at midnight, but like she didn't end up having the baby until like 7 p.m. that night. But they went in and like started getting her prepared and inducing her around 7 a.m. And for her to dilate and get everything, it took that long. But I mean, we got there at 7 a.m. we got there at midnight, checked in, and then this was all prior to COVID. So, and we had them at St. Clair's. So you have your own room, like you deliver in the room, you stay in the room, and it's got a couple like couches and beds and things like that in there for people, So we had two of my good buddies and then Melissa's best friend come up, and we were playing games, and all Melissa was craving afterwards was tequila. That's all she wanted was tequila. So my buddies brought up like a bunch of the mini tequila shots. Yeah. Well, we were assholes and couldn't wait. And there was a slushy machine on the floor. So we made hospital margaritas. And got drunk drinking all of the tequila on hospital margaritas, playing different video games until we all just passed out drunk.
That's great.
There was, me at a hospital, which you'll never really find me at. I would not be for tequila. I'm not going to say what I'd be looking for, but let's just say a lot of rappers drink it in a styrofoam white cup. Going back to my old days. But you guys can enjoy all the tequila you want.
Yeah. So anyway, I recommend that. Like, obviously you've got your people that want to do natural births and things like that. Like, I mean, shout out to Erica.
Jesus Christ. Gosh. Yeah. A beast.
Congratulations, Erica.
Congratulations.
That's awesome. So excited for you guys. And
that was like a 48 hour, 42 hour labor with no
nothing.
No sedation.
All natural.
No...
She's a badass, man. She is a badass. For doing that.
As far as like parents go, like, that kid is going to have some very principled parents.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Welcome to Earth, Jeremiah.
Yeah. Yeah. Got some good ones, buddy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I just, if you're planning on doing an epidural anyway and things like that, I mean, just not having to feel that rush or that panic or anything was just made everything so much smoother, so much calmer. It was great. I'm not planning on having any more kids. But if that were to happen, that's how I would want to do it.
Yeah, that makes. I mean, me too. Any other ones from here on out? I think Gina has to have C-sections from here on out. I think.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Yeah. Once you have one, you have. That's really the.
Well,
only
they
way.
said
I
that
was
she
pretty
could.
Sure, that's the only way that
They said she could this time, but I think now that she's had 2 C-sections, I'm pretty sure it has to be C-sections from here on out. But at this point, like, I don't even know if she'd want to do it any other way, just because it's been so both times. I mean, you know, her recovery's been pretty good. I mean, she's just not supposed to pick up Calvin for a couple weeks while that's all healing. She's got like a 6-inch scar across her stomach. I'm waiting for that to heal, but yeah, I mean that's been our, you know, really the only like our biggest challenge right now is that like Gina can't pick up Calvin. I mean, that's really the hardest thing.
Yeah,
you know, which is not that bad. I just got to be here to put him in the crib, and you know, and help with anytime we need to pick up Calvin. So I mean,
I'm sure that was tough on him though.
For sure. You know, that's hard for him. That is one of the things that we've struggled with, just because like Calvin wants, you know, he's a mama's boy. He always wants Gina to do everything. And, you know, Gina just can't right now. And like putting him to bed and stuff. He's not as okay with me doing it as he is with his mom. So, but, you know, we're figuring it out. It'll be all good. And he's adjusting, and, you know, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
He's doing great.
Have you found that because it hasn't been that long ago since Calvin was a baby, have you found that you've forgotten a lot of the things from when he was a baby?
No, Gina actually last night, she was like, we were laughing because like I don't know if it was just the fact, it's probably a combination of the things, but we were saying like, man, I feel like I could never get Calvin settled, you know, when he was like upset or like, you know, crying, or like I could feel like anytime I held him, it never helped. But like now, like Theo sleeps in my arms just as much as he sleeps in hers. And I don't know if that's a combination of me just knowing how to do the baby thing better, or if that's Theo just likes me better than Calvin did. I don't know. I think it's more of the fact that I'm like more experienced with the dad shit now, you know, more because I mean, Theo doesn't know what's going on yet, you know, like he's probably.
Well, and two, usually like at least for Connor, Melissa, I mean, she was very possessive over Connor. I don't want to say possessive because that just sounds bad.
No, but I get it.
But maternal.
Maternal.
Yeah.
And wanted to take on a lot of the responsibilities, and I would try and help, but she was just very maternal, and she kept doing it. Where with the second one, with Oliver, she was like more open to shared responsibilities.
Yeah. I'm seeing that as well, you know, because she's, you know, because I've been on Calvin duty for the most part, you know, like like the other day, for instance, like I spent like 2.5 hours straight with him outside, like riding his scooter, riding the swing, hitting baseballs off the tee. It was basically like 2.5 hours of us playing, and it was like 100 degrees out. Right. And so like I come inside and I am just drenched, you know, Calvin and I both are. And she's just sitting in there like in the air conditioning, just holding the baby, you know, and like right then and there, I think she was like, all right, well, maybe this isn't so bad, you know, but she totally misses being able to like run and gun and do all the fun stuff, you know, just because Calvin's at such a fun age right now. He's just wants to do everything and you know, just run, and you know, she just can't, you know, keep up with him right now. She's still recovering. So
yeah, and that too. I mean, we didn't really have that with Connor because Connor was still a baby as well. I mean, he was 15 months old.
That's true. Yeah, because I mean, they were.
Yeah,
there's you know, we had a year basically because they were 15. Yeah, because basically on a whole year more.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, fucking baby Breza's baby, that thing was awesome.
We were just talking about getting one because
I've got one still there. If you guys want it, you can. That we don't.
Gina will be fired up because we use that fucking stroller you gave us every day. We literally he was in it all day today. Yeah. It's been amazing. So sweet.
No,
thank you.
We've got one. Like I said, neither one of us are planning on having any more kids. So
cool. Yeah, because that's been the big challenge here is because Gina she's been pumping, but it's just become too much with Calvin, and Gina's like a super producer, which you know I think is just crazy because she like produces too much milk, and it's like a big pain in the ass. Like last time she was making like anywhere from 1/4 to a 1/2 gallon a day.
I think you can sell that shit.
You can, but it's like when she's making that much, that means she's got to be like pumping all the time, and then it's not just the pumping, it's the pumping, it's the cleaning of the pump, it's the freezing the bag, the storage of the bags, because you got to like freeze them, you got to like freeze them flat like so you put them in the bag so that they lay flat and freeze it, so then you can stack them, and it's a whole, it's an ordeal.
Yeah.
And like just doing that with Calvin and we were just like, I think it's too much. So I think Theo's going to be mostly formula, and so we were saying, but with us being in a 2-story house versus our last house when Calvin was born, everything was all on one level, so it was like going down to the kitchen in the middle of the night to make bottles is kind of a pain in the ass.
Oh, yeah.
So we were like, all right, let's get a Baby Brezza. Let's
So
throw it
shout out Baby Brezza.
Yeah.
It's a Keurig machine for baby formula.
Yeah.
It is awesome. It makes the perfect size, perfect amount of fluid and formula at the perfect temperature.
Yep.
It's amazing.
And you also sponsor the show, by the way.
Yeah. Hey,
Baby Brezza.
Baby Brezza.
It worked with NeuroGum.
Hey, up a baby.
Yeah.
Hit me up.
Up a baby. Yeah. Yeah. You guys got some nice shit.
Yeah, Pat gave me all his hand-me-down Up a Baby stuff. For those of you that don't know, Up a Baby's like the Gucci of or the the Cadillac of strollers or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, Melissa spoiled those babies.
Yeah, yeah. I brought all this shit home from Pat's house, and me and Gina are on the website like, I wonder how much all this shit costs. Holy fuck! Like that's a $1,500 stroller.
Oh God, yeah. Oh, it's like the Cadillac of strollers, man. Shit, it might even
that thing better have hydraulics and some fat ass subs in it. You know what I'm saying?
And the baby form of that would be like, it's got really good shock absorbers, so it doesn't bounce. Like it's
I need a low rider.
Ride super smooth.
I want that thing in purple. I want to wear a hat with a feather in it too.
Comes with multiple attachments, 2 separate normal seats plus a
bassinet. Are you kidding me?
Adjustable handrail.
For the listeners who don't
Folds
know,
up.
For the listeners who don't
Conveniently to fit in
know,
your trunk.
I am not committed to someone for life. I have no kids. I was out with Ian and his wife Maddie up in like the mountains of Idaho, and
I want to hear about your trip.
Yeah.
Oh, well, first of all, going to a place where it's sunlight until 11 p.m. at night.
Whoa,
and
that's crazy.
Zero.
Where was this at?
I was up in Idaho.
Coeur d'Alene.
I flew into Idaho Falls, and
Okay.
we went up to Rexburg, and I hung out with Ian Wendt and his family, and we were making Father's Day content for Captain Beard Co. Also, my week was fucking crazy, man. So I went from Monday just looking like we were gonna have a regular week, and then
all of a sudden you were out of town. You're like, hey, I'm out of town.
I didn't even tell. I didn't even
tell us.
My mom fucking texted me. She goes, "Why didn't you tell me you were going out of town?" I'm like, "It's Wednesday." I'm like, "Mom, I didn't know until like Tuesday." What do you mean? But no. So I was. I guess I have to just start from the beginning. So we had we were setting up profiles, because that's what we do a little differently with Captain Beard Co.'s content. Is like, we don't want to make like commercials. We want to sit people down who genuinely use our products and like them, and be like, hey, can we get some like user footage of you doing it, and like get to know you as a person? We want to make it personal. Like that's a big thing me and Gabe both took away from First Form, is like, make it about the person, don't make it about the product, but move that in as you can. And so we filmed with a couple guys, but like, I guess we didn't communicate well enough to them that like, this is Father's Day content, and we wanted to see them like playing with their kids or spending time with their families. And they both like let us know like, hey, we're not really that comfortable with our kids being on camera. I was like, oh, okay, well, I wish I would have known that a little bit earlier. And so I jokingly said to Gabe, I was like, hey, Ian Wendt, who is the owner and operator of Official Patriot Gear, who is, as far as apparel brands go that I align with, he's great. He sent me free stuff. I actually support his stuff. He's also one of the heads of the content creation over at Summit Rejuvenation Centers, where I go get my TRT. I jokingly said to him, I'm like, hey, Gabe, what if we asked Ian to do it? He goes, do it. I'll pay for you to go out there. Bet. And so I asked Ian, he goes, this is the only weekend I can do this, actually. I was like, cool. So we'll schedule for me to come out there. Well, then right before that, actually, no, right after that, my homegirl, Rossetti, who does real estate out in Las Vegas, she was one of my salespeople with First Form. And she was like, hey, I don't have a content creator out here that I really like and trust. And she goes, I see everything you do on Instagram. Would you want to come out here and shoot some content for me? She's like, it's not going to be like a big money maker, but there's a networking event, and I can get you out here as early as tomorrow. I was like, so you mean I get to go from having a week where I'm not doing normal shit to going to Vegas and Idaho? Fucking send it.
Yeah.
And so within a day, I was out in Vegas. I love Vegas, and I don't like go to casinos. I don't give a shit about gambling. I like food and I like entertainment. Like my favorite group, Slander, has residency out in Vegas right now. I turned down seeing them because They would go on at 1 o'clock. The show wouldn't have been over till 3, and I had a 9 a.m. flight the next day. But I toured some like $1 million homes, $6 million homes in Vegas. We did some content there.
With her?
Yeah.
Cool.
By the way, hey, Rossetti, if you're not working with anybody from Guild, we've got some top-notch Guild loan officers in Las Vegas.
Actually, no, it's funny because at the networking event, I met a dude. And he goes, hey, I do coaching for Guild Mortgage. I'm like, yo, do you know Anthony Merkel? He goes, dude, he's the shit. I'm like, yeah, he's my guy's coach too. So trust me, like that was actually kind of cool. And
Guild's huge in Vegas.
I had no idea.
Oh yeah, no, it's a nationwide company, and our second top producer in terms of volume, number 1 in units, is in Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they've got a fucking stronghold on Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the houses we were touring were like $3 and $6 million a piece.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. One was in a gated community. I helped her out with some fitness content. I got to introduce some really cool people. She's with Galindo Real Estate Group. And I was like, Galindo, name of a cartel in Mexico. She goes, yes, but no. Okay. Anyways, I don't think they're trapping drugs. I think they're, in fact, trapping houses.
So were you doing listing videos for her?
Yeah.
Cool.
Which, I mean, dude, I told her, I was like, hey, you know, there is a very big market for this. And like the guys who I look up to, I think are the best in the world. And so like, I'm like expecting me to be like as good as like Matt, Joe, and Blake and what they do. I'm like, I got a ways to go, but I will give you my best shot. She goes, it's better than me not having content. And I took some photos, but like, little thing about me, I hate real estate photography. It is not my bag whatsoever. It's simple. And if you're good at it, you're good at it. But like, that's not what I've been good at. I'm good at shooting events. I'm good at shooting people like in their most vulnerable moments. If you ask me to shoot a house, I'm not going to be inspired by it, but video, I can do that. And so,
well, that's what thing that's, I mean, that's what I think Matt does really well is, I mean, he brings out that emotion on a house so well.
Yeah.
And
I think he's the best at it.
Yeah. He's
period.
Amazing.
All the listing videos he's done for me lately have been fucking top notch.
Yeah.
I mean, those like as far as like insights and like performance wise, as far as reels go, like I mean, those have been my best ones by far.
Oh
I mean,
yeah. Well, I mean,
all the hooks and stuff I've been doing at the beginning.
I mean, bro, as far as like good looking content that is very niche,
crisp.
He's great.
Well, like even
they're great.
Like I have this listing that's going live this weekend, and you know, it's not the prettiest house on the block. It needs, you know, it was a house that was owned by someone for the last 50 years, and you know, it's got 4 different colors of carpet, and you know, it like and that's kind of how I advertised it. Is I was like, this is a great value add opportunity. Yeah, I mean, for sure, this is something that you could buy, fix it up while you live there and live there, and and sell it 5 years down the road and make a killing.
Yeah,
in my opinion. But yeah. So anyway, looking at that, most people, I would never look at this like, oh, this is going to be an amazing video, but like we were able to make it a pretty awesome video. Because it's not the prettiest house in the world, but it's got we were able to highlight the good aspects of it. And Matt does such a good job at that, I think.
And basically, I was in Vegas for like 2.5 days and did 75 hard to the letter each time. And fuck, dude, it was 105 degrees like most days. In the house we were staying in, their AC went out. Bro, dude, I had a little oscillating fan in my room. It said like my room was like no cooler than like 85 degrees each day.
Because it's like, I mean, out there it's that dry heat, so you just feel like you're baking. Like we're here, like it's humid and you're just sweating.
Oh, but dude,
out there it's like you're just in a fucking
bro.
oven.
I will take the desert any day. I hate humidity, and so like
I don't mind heat. I would much rather be
hot than cold.
Hot.
Me too.
Yeah. Yes, no, every single time, bro.
Throw me in a hot tub, not a cold tub.
But dude, when we got out to Idaho, I got there like midnight-ish, and it was just getting dark. I was like, oh, okay. The mountains are beautiful. The people are friendly. It was like 75 and 0% humidity each day. It was great.
Big sky country, man.
Oh my God. It was wonderful. I'd never been to that. I'd never been to Idaho. There are places now in the north I really want to go see a lot more, like Wyoming and Montana.
There's some awesome places. One of the stops along in my baseball career was in Billings, Montana.
Mm-hmm.
And that like one of the most beautiful, like as a whole, that league was awesome. One of the teams was in Idaho Falls. I got family that lives in Boise.
Yeah.
And I mean, I love going up there.
Blue Mountain State.
Heck yeah.
But
I just rewatched all that shit.
Dude, I love those. Dude, that was like my college, my freshman. I mean, like when we were in college, that's like when that shit came out.
Yeah.
We were watching that stuff.
They could still produce from that. Like,
well, I hear they're making a like a sequel to it or a continuation of it with Thad.
As long as Thad's in it, they'll be fine.
Well, dude, he's been great.
I'll tell you what,
dude,
his
Alan
new shit,
Reacher.
Yeah. Oh my god,
Yeah.
that dude is fucking
He's
huge.
absurd. You know,
He's been huge. Dude.
I know, but like now,
and now
like,
he's even bigger.
Yeah.
than he was when he was Thad.
Yeah.
It's 10 years.
No.
10 years later. You know, I mean, you gotta think.
Like,
think of how big. You know, you can put on some size in 10 years.
Right. Like Thad, though, like you looked at him, like you could tell it, but he still had a little bit of that baby fat to him.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
No, it's just
it kind of looks like Chris Hemsworth, but like
freaking-
not completely like pussified by Disney.
Yeah,
No,
and he
way bigger than Chris
yeah.
Hemsworth.
He's a freak, and
He looks like
you
he should
believe
be
it.
in
You believe
300
it.
without the CGI.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, he looks like an Avenger. You know, I mean, he really does. But it's you know, I love about that show is you don't even see him doing a push up.
Yeah.
You know, like he's barely eating. That's the one thing that I'm like, all right, well, he's like. You see him eating like twice in the show, and I was like, all right, well, to maintain that kind of size, like I know that motherfucker's eating, 4,000 calories a day. Minimum.
Well,
Right.
and definitely on
Oh, he's on all
at least
the juice.
TRT. And speaking of TRT,
He's saucy.
yeah, no, I mean, shit, I'm saucy, but like,
I'm gonna be salty.
dude, it's great. And I mean, honestly, like the relationship I built with Ian Smith and Ian Went, they're great guys. You know, they both represent Summit Rejuvenation Centers here. Scott Ote, again, another great guy. Looks like he'd be Ian Smith's brother, but they're not related at all. And just being out there with Ian and what he's done with official Patriot gear and seeing him fathering his kids and just kind of getting the local feel of like what Idaho is. It was a really great experience getting to see the Patriot storefront.
He's kind of an off the grid type of guy, right? Or no?
I mean, he drives a Dodge Laramie that's really pretty. No, I wouldn't say so.
Okay.
You could be thinking of someone.
I'm thinking of someone else, man.
I've been to Idaho once, and it was for a very brief amount of time. But I went to a buddy of mine lives in Spokane.
Washington.
And they're all like, so what's the state? So it goes Washington, Idaho. Is it Montana?
Montana's
Wyoming.
Was it Wyoming? Yeah, I think
Probably.
it's Wyoming. Yeah, because we went to like 4 different. We went up there to snowboard, and this was like right before Calvin was born. And we went we ended up going to all 3 states within a matter of 3 days, and it was just so funny to see the difference. And this was like kind of like right after COVID, so it was like really interesting to see the very like different political
Those
like,
states
kind of
were
leanings.
like completely
it was
like Florida.
Well, they're so no. Well, Spokane was very
well,
like
that's Washington.
and
Yeah.
very like blue everywhere you went.
Once you
Everywhere,
get just
everybody
to
was
the-
wearing masks. And then you the second you got into Idaho,
You go east of Washington, you're fine.
Yeah, there was not a mask in sight. And then it was so funny. Just like
Yeah.
you literally crossed the border, and it was like 2 different worlds.
Well, and like I've been to Seattle and Olympia and Spokane. Those places were very much like, hey, we're going to tell you how to live your life. The rest of Washington is incredibly red, and they don't care. They just want to be left alone, and I like that about Washington.
Yeah.
But if you could take that,
kind of like Austin in Texas, the
Exactly.
blueberry and the tomato soup.
in Houston too,
Yeah.
and in Dallas to a piece, but like all the same, like
Well, it's anytime there's a big major city.
Yeah.
They're gonna. It's
that's
just
where
natural.
the urban
yeah.
population typically votes a certain way, and here in St. Louis, it's no different. But seeing Idaho was really, really cool because the people were friendly. I got to see and meet Brantley Gilbert.
Oh yeah. So that's sick.
It wasn't my first time meeting him. He's a son of the South. He's a good old man. I'm like, didn't I hear you on Andy's podcast? He goes, hey, you were in that spot that one time I was down there. I'm like, so super friendly guy. I met the guys from Low Cash too, which I'm not big into country music, but like people from the country music community are very friendly. They're very straightforward and very genuine. And but just a big shout out to Ian, man. Like, the fact that you have a great beard and you welcome me in your home, you and Maddie.
Great red beard.
Oh my God, bro. Bro, I mean, you could take a little note out of his as far as like getting some girth on that thing. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I used to have a really long beard.
Yeah.
I used to be able to have to like pull it out of my t-shirt.
Yeah.
Like when I put a t-shirt on.
It's just,
But I stopped. I got rid of it because of jujitsu. It just kept getting pulled.
yeah, it's a bitch.
I mean, especially if someone's going for a collar choke and they're reaching across and
Yeah,
grabbing your
okay.
beard hair.
That
Yeah,
probably
okay.
doesn't feel good.
yeah.
Uh-uh.
But big shout out to him, man. Not only did you welcome me into your home, but like he's been a big brother figure to me from the first form days for like 2 years now. I respect what he's done with OPG. I love the fact that he helped us out with the content for Beard Co. And I mean, as far as my adventures go, I mean, dude, I travel a lot. I just gotta say, like, I'm a little proud of myself because as far as getting content out for this, we had no hiccups really.
No, yeah, it was perfect.
And it's really tough for me to like get this shit done. Like maybe I was up till 6 a.m. Monday morning. Maybe I'm still, short on sleep, but it's all worth it.
Yeah, it's been. I mean, we have. I mean, I think our pretty much other than us, a couple episodes that we ended up recording ended up Ended up losing him, but we were able to figure it out.
We'll be in touch with you guys to re-record.
So sorry.
Blame me.
Who you are? No, well, one of them's your fault. One of them's ours. It's a shared responsibility.
Yes.
We're a team here.
Yeah,
we share our wins and losses here. So,
but yeah, speaking of sharing on our wins, man, congratulations to everything that's going on with you. All the things that you've picked up and the traveling that you're getting, it's well earned and well deserved.
I appreciate it. It's
you work your ass off, and you deserve everything that's coming your way.
It's tough, but I mean, no one said it was going to be fucking easy.
No, and you wouldn't want it if it was easy.
No,
hell no.
No,
everything I do is hard.
Yeah.
You said,
yeah. Everything I do is hard. Oh man. Well, dudes, we got a big fight card here in St. Louis this weekend. A big grappling card. So I'm excited. If Murph stays in town, you're planning on going still, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, this is coming out on Monday, so it just happened this past.
It'll have happened. So, and we're actually gonna have the guy who promoted it and ran the show coming on this coming Thursday, Adam Sella. So at least that's the plan as of now. So, even if we can't get him on, he's gonna be a guest eventually. He's a funny guy. He's in the UFC for a number of years, or he's on the Ultimate Fighter. He's a professional fighter for a number of years, and just a funny guy. So I'm really excited to get him on. He's a great part of the MMA community here in St. Louis. So, but yeah, we've got a great card this weekend. It's the CXBJJ invitation, third invitational here in St. Louis. I was competing on it last time in September. And a lot of people from our gyms, pretty much there's people from just about every jiu-jitsu gym here locally. They've also got some big names from like Kansas City, a couple guys from Brazil. There's people coming in from all over the country to compete on this. So, we've got a lot of our former guests are fighting on the card. We got Uzo on there.
I'm excited to see him and Josh.
Yeah, Uzo and Josh, I think, are the only two that. And we've got a couple other people that we know, and man, it's gonna be awesome. Yeah. I'm excited. It's gonna be really fun. And the Zach and Pat show is a sponsor of the show. So,
absolutely.
So really, really cool to kind of get our name out there on a big stage. And,
right.
It's going to be cool.
Yeah, we've got some cool stuff coming up.
We do.
Got our logo coming up.
And,
just some other things that we're looking into doing. And I'm excited to see what we've got. I mean, being honest, I mean, those couple weeks before the baby was born where we were just cramming episodes in, I mean,
zero sleep, gang.
I'll be honest. I got to a point where I'm like, fuck, I don't want to talk to anybody for a little bit.
I know. I
love this, but I'm like, damn, man, that was.
Well, it was a scheduling thing. Mm-hmm. It was like, fuck, we got to get it in. So like, when can we mark it? And then like, it was difficult because we had all these other things going on. We're trying to get ready for the baby, just trying to get everything situated. So it was, on
top of our real jobs.
Yeah. On top of our real jobs.
The crazy things that we put up with the last fucking deal.
I think it's important that we talk about that though, because I was on a phone call with Andy the other day, name drop. Sorry. This is what it is. But, I mean, he was even like, everybody in the world wants to have a podcast, but no one has a plan or anything to fucking talk about. And that's why I think we've been able to hit 50 plus episodes in a scheduled basis, because we have division of labor and because we plan things out and we work like a team. Like, yo, if you want to have a podcast and you are doing it all by yourself, good fucking luck. You notice that I do mine all by myself and I don't produce that much. Yeah. But when it comes to this, everyone plays their role.
100%.
I mean, that's like I said, we've said this so many times. If it wasn't for you and what you do, this wouldn't be what it is, because obviously Zach and I, we show up and we talk, we plan out what we want to talk about. We get our guests scheduled, but like, it's easy to sit here and have a conversation and just talk about things. Obviously, we've got plans and we have a questionnaire that we send out and to help along with some of that stuff, but that's easy. That's the easiest thing, is to have conversations with people. Yeah. It's the shit that you're doing behind the scenes that getting us the reels, getting these things on Spotify and RSS, Apple, whatever that is, and then YouTube and the videos and editing. Like, there's no way in hell we would be here.
Not with all the other shit you
No, exactly. Like, I mean, that's the thing, is like, you can do this with having other, I mean, we both have very successful careers in terms of real estate and mortgages, and we're very busy and active in those things. It's not like we're not doing those. We are very much active in those, but because of us being able to time block and being in control of our schedules and knowing that, as well as being on a team and working together to get things done, because it's not always, we try to record on Wednesdays, but It doesn't always
work that way.
Yeah. And so, you know, if you're trying to get a podcast started, and you have to have a team to support you with it. If you're trying to do it on your own and you have other things going on, there's no way.
Or you just have to be like the most disciplined, time managed person fucking ever. Like, dude, I think another piece of it that really works though is that, like, you know, it was Zach's question on my show that was like, hey, should I do this? The dude listens to more podcasts than anyone I fucking know, for better or worse. And the fact is that you bring in people you like, people who are good at things, people who you have things in common with, and even things you have not in common with at times. Yeah. And I think what that's created is just an environment for creation that's just like, you know, at first we kind of just hit the ground running. It was like, all right, we're doing a podcast. It's literally the words you said in the first episode. And kind of like the shape it's taken is like, you know, I don't think it's any secret that most of our listeners who've heard me or seen me be on camera, like, yo, there is going to be a point where, like, I will not be present. Doesn't mean the show stops.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It's because we all have our roles. I mean, I've left my cameras behind. You guys have taken good care of them. And I have no doubt in my mind that, like, this thing can hit thousands of episodes as long as we keep that same energy going. And, you know, it's just hats off to you two, because you've both gotten so much better on the mics. And it's not to say you started off as bad. It's just that everyone has a starting point. And, you know, Pat, I don't know how much microphone exposure you had before this, but, like, dude, your confidence on the mic, your presence on camera, it's great. Especially like this episode that we just released with, like, Pat, like, big meat.
Yeah.
Big meat.
Good.
The amount of laughs and just how real and authentic everything was.
It's just silly.
That's what I live for as a content creator.
Me too.
So
yeah, we need to get more. We need to get more. I mean, that show, you know, I guess it wasn't like providing a bunch of, like, earth shattering like motivation or like a, you know, but boy, was it was just laughs from, and those are my favorite podcasts to listen to, are the ones where it just makes me laugh the whole time.
I mean,
you know?
I think some of my favorite ones to listen to are when Joe Rogan has the comedians on, especially like with
Joey.
Joey
or Bert or the fight. I love the fight companions because it's you know, him and his three best friends, and they throw the fights on. They're talking fights sometimes, but then it always goes off into some crazy tangent.
Sometimes Shane's on,
you know?
Shane Gillis.
Yeah, or Shane. Yeah, they do the Protect Our Parks where they just get drunk and laugh, and like those are like some of the best episodes of. I mean, probably some of the most watched podcasts of all time are those, and it's just a bunch of guys getting together, and it's just. You're just a fly on the room. You're a fly on the wall in the room with a bunch of guys hanging out. It just makes you feel like you're the fifth person in the room.
And,
you know?
And that's the thing too, is like we can only be and say so many positive or motivational things without repeating ourselves. Mm-hmm. So it's good to have that mix in there where it's not all just like, we want to be positive and uplifting, especially in a world that we're in today where everything's so fucking negative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But and I feel like we've done an excellent job of, no matter what or who our guest is or what, we've been pretty uplifting and positive, but it's not always going to be motivational. We're going to have those episodes where we have people come on. I mean, I would love to kind of dip in, like, even with people that we don't know, like,
I've got a couple guys. I've actually got a buddy of mine. He's a stand-up comedian here in St. Louis, and I've been talking about getting him on. But I know he's moving to Chicago in the next month, so we got to get him on soon.
Okay.
But he was a buddy I went to high school with, and I know he's been on a bunch of podcasts and stuff, so I think he would be just. And I'll be honest, like I've seen him like at the gym at like Club Fitness a couple times, and we like bullshit and talk, but like I haven't like really caught up with him in a long time. So I think that would be a fun episode. So yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of great guests that we still kind of have on our list that we haven't gotten on, and that's really what we wanted to do with this show, is we wanted to have it, you know, be a variety. We said when we started this, obviously you and I are both, you know, very heavily involved in the real estate industry, but that, you know, we didn't want to make it all real estate all the time. You know, we're going to talk some real estate because that's what we do. You know, it's like, it's hard for us to
not talk
about that, considering it's, you know, something that consumes our lives when we're not in front of these microphones. Yeah. But we wanted to have that variety of, you know, we want to have entertaining, funny episodes. We want to have some episodes where we get serious and shit and get vulnerable. And we've had those episodes too. And
we tried getting political one time. We had to delete it.
Yeah. We just realized that's not our bag.
Yeah, that's my bag. Sometimes
that's Murph's bag.
Yeah, we'll let Murph run with that on his show. You know, and I mean, there's going to be times where it comes up just because it has an effect on our business, but that's the gist that we're going to talk about it, you know? So, I mean, this is kind of just a recap. You know, we hit 50. This is episode, what, 54?
55, I think.
55?
It will be.
Yeah, and so we kind of took a little hiatus, took a little break, and now we're just kind of catching everybody back up with what we've been doing for the last couple of weeks and where our vision's at. And we would love for you guys to catch on. I think honestly, we talk about manhood, fatherhood, and all that stuff. But I think one of the demographics that we might be reaching or would be good to reach are those kids coming right out of college, entering the workforce. Because I've got a guy, I coach a 16U baseball team, and my assistant coach is someone that just graduated college, and we had a road trip to Kansas City a couple of weeks ago, and we listened to a couple episodes, and he's like, "Damn, this is fucking awesome." Really? And so he enjoyed it, and it was right after we released Louis' album, or
Louis.
Podcast. Yeah,
his album.
Yeah.
Big St. Louis French again.
Yeah.
Dude,
So
that one was fucking good.
That
too.
was, yeah. So, I mean, and he was just like, "Damn, man, that's inspiring, that story." I'm like, "Dude, you should have seen me at the table. I just sat there and stared at him because I couldn't, I was so enthralled by the story that I didn't know, I just wanted to listen. I just wanted to hear him speak and tell his story, and I didn't want to interrupt." And so
it was hard to make reels for you that episode.
I know. I know. There's been, I
feel like he talked 90% of the time.
Which is
maybe
fine.
I talked
I think
a 6 and you maybe had the other 4%.
Bro, me and him did a 3-hour podcast I couldn't publish like over a year ago.
Really?
Yeah, bro. I couldn't upload it all to RSS. They were like, "Yeah, you got to break this up." And then I would try breaking it up. Like, "Yeah, these pieces are still too big." But I mean, to be completely fair and honest, like it wouldn't come through sounding like this. Like I didn't know how to stream multiple microphones at that point. Mark left that out in his lesson of how to podcast. But I mean, dude, it is also a big testament to our guests. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah, we've had some amazing guests. We really have.
And I don't know, as they say at First Form, man, the people make the party, and it's kind of my proud dad moment at you too. It's just, I'm not the best content creator. I'm not the best podcast producer. I'm a guy who just kind of got started, and I had people who believed in me. Zach believed in me much more than he should have when I started creating content for a living. And I mean, just, it's a testament to how far it can come. And,
but that's the thing. I mean, look at how far we've come. Look how far since you started, you trusting him, you reaching out to me wanting to do this, and us just saying, "Fuck it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it."
Yeah.
Sitting down, coming up with a game plan, and then just executing. I mean, you want to take anything motivational out of this episode? Fucking just have some faith and do it.
Make a plan.
Make a plan and
Make a
do
plan,
it.
stick to the plan.
But don't over plan. You have to come up with some sort of plan and then just fucking do it. Because I mean, none of us, I've never podcasted before.
I did one.
I mean, yeah, the one with Murph.
Yeah, done one with Murph. Other than our own at this point. Yeah.
I mean, I've done like interviews with people that I guess kind of got turned into podcasts. But
it's different when you're in person,
right?
Oh,
absolutely.
I really personally, like when I'm, like Murph said, I'm a big consumer of podcasts, and I'm one of the things that almost makes me want to turn it off almost every time is if it's a Zoom one. I have a hard time listening to the Zoom episodes because it's like there's a delay, and then it's just the audio always sounds a little funky, and there's something about when you're not in the room with someone else.
Yeah.
Like
there's a lack of intimacy.
There's something that I will always push for us to always do podcasts in person. I'm never gonna be, unless it's some like crazy big name that
Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan, you want to Zoom? We'll Zoom with you.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I'll fly to Austin for that one.
Yeah.
I'll run to Austin for that one.
I'm smoking with Joe on set. No one's fucking stopping me.
No, me either.
Me too.
Yeah. We're gonna cold plunger and do the whole thing.
Yeah.
Dude. But I mean, you're right. I think there's a different feel for a podcast when it's all in person.
Yeah.
You're
sitting across the table from someone.
Right. And you can feel their energy. You're vibing off of each other's energy. It's
looking in each other's eyes.
Yeah. Just get all intimate.
Yeah. But there's something to that.
Yeah, there is. There really is.
I mean, there is something to it about looking somebody in the eyes when you're talking.
Yeah, where's my glasses? Fuck
you.
This has become too sus for me.
No. Speaking of that word, my 5 and 4-year-old started using that word.
Sus?
Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck?
For real. That's bussin'.
And they used it correctly.
Yeah, dude. No,
it's insane.
Bro, your kids will be so hip to linguistics and lingo and how to use slang in a way that none of us were. Even my urban ass.
Yeah.
With an English mostly finished degree, I dropped out.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's just like I mean, the boys are already learning Bosnian, and they know English. Obviously, they got a long way to go with English, and obviously a long way to go. But now you throw in, these new words. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What did you just say?
Yeah, skibbity. What the hell is that mean?
Okay.
Skibbity.
You've lost me.
Yeah,
I don't know what
that's
the fuck that is.
That's a new one. I've heard of that.
Riz or skibbity.
Okay,
I know what Riz is.
Okay, I know what Riz is.
I know what Riz
Yeah,
is.
but
You know,
like-
it's short for charisma. That's what I was told.
Well, I mean, basically
Is it
that's.
rizzing a girl up. You know, I guess it's charisma. I think
guess.
that's what it's short. I think
Well,
that's what it's short for.
I mean, that's what most of them are. Sus is you're suspicious or like a suspect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of sus.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's just they're just shortening words.
Yeah. I mean, I like the term Riz. I think that's a good. He's got.
Cap has become a
I
really
fucking
big
don't like
piece.
that one.
What?
You're literally wearing a blue cap. The fuck?
But I don't get the no cap. Like the
That's
when I
cap.
hear, it's cap.
You're capping.
I'm capping. I'm lying.
Nah, you're putting something on top of it that ain't supposed to be there. That's cap.
Okay, I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
No.
But still, all right.
Yeah.
That's cap.
Cap.
Bussin'.
All right. Bussin'. For real. Sus. Skibbity.
That's real. That's real.
I think we should close out.
right.
But let's close out a little differently.
Yeah.
You know, we thought it was a huge deal when we hit. I feel like we talk about this every time we hit like a 10 episode milestone. We thought it was a really big deal to like hit 20 episodes because like that was like the hockey stick of like, hey, you're not going to quit at this point. If we quit at this point, I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
I think we should go around and just talk about like one lesson, something that's just been important up to this point. Because the fact that we've hit 50, to us, 50 is really important because that like opened the door to like asking Andy to be on the show at some point, which we have not done yet. But I think 50 is a really big deal, and we didn't acknowledge it when we hit it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think we really realized which episode because it was in that 2 weeks that we
cranked out like
just
5 in a week.
We just weren't. Yeah, fuck. Wasn't there a week where we did 7?
I think it was
Something like that.
That week
6.
exhausted the fuck out.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
me too.
I'm still tired. Well, yeah, you have a new kid here, so like
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
little different.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if we realized which episode was going to be 50, and so yeah, I mean, it was kind of hard to sit there and celebrate it since we didn't really know. But I mean, I'm fucking proud of us. You know, the one thing that I'm proud of and that I'm taking away from this and is, like I said, I've never done this. This was new to me.
Yeah.
As Zach texts me and says, "Hey, you want to do this?" In the first, like within 30 seconds, I was like, "Fuck yeah, let's do it." Like, didn't give a single thought to it. I just knew that this was something that would be fun and creative and a different avenue and a different thing, like for people to get to see me in a different way than what they normally see me. You know, because unfortunately as a loan officer, I mean, I've always, like, everybody's like, what does it take to be good? It's like, you got to be a chameleon.
Yeah.
Like, you have to have different personalities for different people that you're working with and things like that. But like this, like, I get to be my true authentic self. And now I think more and more people are starting to see that and realize, like, you know, that's one big thing. But then also, again, just fucking taking a chance.
Yeah.
And just doing it. And I realized that I was going to suck at this from the get-go, but my goal was to get better and better each time. And I just went with it and just did it. So my advice to people, like I said earlier, is just fucking, sure, create a plan, but don't overplan, and then just do it. And you're going to learn as you go. And you can correlate this to podcasts or anything in life, which I've taken over to my business side of things, is just quit overthinking it and just fucking do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be, my 2 things that I'm going to say are, one of them is pretty much just piggybacking off of what you just said. Cause there's a lot of people out there. They get that analysis paralysis where you really overanalyze things and you think about it and you try to make this perfect plan and you want to wait for the stars to align before you get out and you actually do the thing that you've been wanting to do or been planning to do. But there's just something to just committing to it, writing it down on a piece of paper. I'm going to do this by this date. Boom, I'm doing it. And we've taken that into this, and I've got a couple other things. We kind of chatting about it before the show. Something that where I would love to do down the road. I've also got another business venture with a friend of mine that we want to do down the road. And there's all these things that that I'm gonna do it. It's just a matter of time, and I'm gonna wait and make sure that the plan is in place because it's kind of a new idea. But I have every intention of doing these things. And then on top of that, I would say as a podcaster, I think just, 30 minutes of preparation can make an episode so much better.
So much better.
Like anytime I've had come in and I've had a good, like, clear set of like questions that I want to ask, like, especially when we're having guests specifically, even when it's just the 2 of us, if we come in with a plan, Especially like if we want to say, hey, this episode we want to talk about this, we want to pull up these couple articles, or it's this specific guest. I want to think of some actual thoughtful questions versus just like, just an ordinary bullshit that you can ask anybody in an elevator. So I would say those are my two things. Just get out there and do it. And I think Alex Hormozy said it, like 20 minutes of preparation can make you seem 20 IQ points smarter,
or 10 years smarter,
or something like that. I was like 20. Yeah, I remember it was something like that. But yeah, just 20 minutes of prep, or 20, 30 minutes, and that's kind of been my routine. Like the night before our episodes, Gina goes to bed. I sit up here and I throw a podcast on, and I just try to come up with 10 to 20 questions or things I want to ask whenever we have a guest on, and that's.
Yeah, I mean, basically what I'll do is I'll take the questionnaire if we get it early enough, and kind of plug it into an AI generator and just say, hey, what are some unique questions I can come up for this? Yeah,
a guy that is a black belt in jiu-jitsu, owns a car dealership, all these other things that
and then just kind of analyze what some of those unique questions are, and kind of think about how trying to get into their mind to see if this is something that they can elaborate on or speak longer to, that might stir up another thought that runs us into a different area, just things like that. I mean, I think that's another thing too, is like fucking people are so unique.
Oh yeah.
It is all like the people that we've had on here are all different, do different things, but are so unique in the way that they do them. And it's awesome to kind of, or have all those guests that we've had, and getting to learn so much more about these people.
Yeah.
That people don't.
It's been an education.
Yeah. People will never know, like people don't know. And it's cool that we're able to do this here locally and get some really interesting people locally that people may not have heard of, but to get their story out there, like that's awesome.
Yeah. I've been having fun with it. So just always out there.
What about you, Murph?
Being curious.
I think I got two things. Number one, do make it about people. Zach and I have a great deal of trust in each other for the year that we worked for this. And when he introduces me to someone, I take his word as like, hey, I have trust in that. So being able to develop a relationship with Pat in that time, and strengthening my relationship with you and your families, that's a big deal to me. It's reflected in the guests that we bring on, is like, no, we make this about people. Have the right people. We have the right guests. We have the right support from our family and loved ones. We're setting a good example for your kids, I believe, and we're keeping the spirit of communication alive. And you can't have communication without people. So to me, it is, if you're going to do this thing and you're going to do it long term, have the right people is number one. My number two thing is, don't make it about you. Don't make it about, oh, I'm going to be a podcaster, just a podcaster. Well, I just want to get sponsors. Well, how long until this thing pays? No, you're going to have to give a lot. You're going to have to give a fuck ton. We're 6 months into this thing. It's the biggest project I've worked on to date. And we don't make it about us. And just because we genuinely love what NeuroGum does, we built a relationship with them, or at least we're starting to. Just because we genuinely love what Fit Flavors does, we're building a relationship with them. Those opportunities that come our way, I get people who ask me when I produce their shit all the time, like, how do I get them to like do my thing? And it's like, dude, look, you can't go searching for it. You can't make this about, I have a sponsor. You have to just provide value. And I think
that's the thing with NeuroGum. Fuck, we were just goofing around one day.
Yeah, Zach was just like, I'd love it if you promoted the show. We didn't expect them to say anything.
Yeah.
But it was the phone call you had with the guy.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name again?
Ken.
Ken, thank you so much, man, because I love your products. And even if I never get to have that phone call, I don't care. I'll use NeuroGum until fucking I run out, and then I'll get some more. I think genuinely we've created something that's still so much in its infancy, that we hit it with the right intentions, and all the cool shit that comes from it, even being able to sponsor this event for the jiu-jitsu comp.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wasn't even involved in that. And just knowing that logo is going to be out there, man, like that is so fucking cool.
Right.
I know, isn't it?
Yeah. So those are my thoughts. It's like, have the right people and go into this with the right intent. If all you want are sponsors and just to say that you're a podcaster, it's going to be very unfulfilling. But if you focus on bringing a great product to people, you're okay with starting somewhere, which is not where you're going to end up. You have a plan and you fucking execute on it, dude, you can do fucking anything.
Yeah. And listeners, if you have somebody that you feel is worth us bringing on and having a conversation with, connect us, comment their names, tag them in a post, send us their information.
Yeah, fly us out to them.
Yeah. Reach out to us on Instagram.
Yeah. We're on Instagram and all social media platforms, putting this on YouTube, anywhere you can listen to Spotify, or anywhere you can listen to podcasts. So comment, let us know if there's somebody that you want to see on the show, well, we're going to do our best to get them on here. And, like I said, we love having people on that are interesting and hardworking and good people. Just to have good conversations with them, because everybody's got a different perspective on things. And I think that's what we want to have on this show. So,
yeah. Well, I think that's a good place for us to end it, guys. And as always, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't hit it already. Like the video, comment what you guys thought below, and we will see you next time.